podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
I was thinking about this, Ed. I was looking down the list of
Don't
Premier
think
League.
too much. It's dangerous.
I was looking down the list of Premier League sides and thinking, yeah, I think that might literally be the answer at this stage. Perhaps not for the long term, but certainly for the rest of this season, I think I would take every Premier League manager over Mourinho at this point.
Let's go down the table. Klopp,
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pep, yes.
Yeah.
Poch, yes. Sarri, yes. Emery, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be thrilled with Sarri or Emery, but I would take them.
Yeah. No, I mean, if it was a long-term plan, Klopp and Pep, clearly, and Poch, yes. Have all of those in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Sorry, but he did an interesting job at Napoli, and he's doing a decent one at Chelsea. And Emery,
he said some real bad stuff though. So
he has said some real bad stuff. Who's the baldy-haired, beardy guy? Looks like he should be in a cafe in Shoreditch. Dude at Wolverhampton. Him.
Nuno Espirito Santos. Oh, I mean, wouldn't even think twice about it.
Silva at Everton. Yeah, he's
definitely.
He's mini Mourinho though, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's got progressive ideas about football.
West Ham, I'm not sure. I would take.
No.
Yeah.
Watford. That's Pellegrini, right? Is Pellegrini still in charge?
He is, yeah, and he's about 90. Watford. Who's the Watford manager?
No. We should not answer this question, Ed, because literally no humans know who manages Watford at any given time. It's
true. It's always some random dude from Randomville somewhere.
Yeah, and in fact,
Eddie Howe would be the interesting choice, Bournemouth manager.
I remember looking up the Watford manager, and he's never done anything good ever before he's come to Watford, but he's done an all right job there. Anyway, so not him. Eddie Howe definitely would have.
Who's the Leicester manager these days?
It's Claudio Ranieri. It's always been, and it always will be Claudio Ranieri. No, it's Claude Puel. Okay.
No. Yeah, you see, we're knocking a few out here. I mean, Jose might even make it into the top 10 before we finish this.
All right, so
Brighton manager,
out.
Chris
Hughton, definitely.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Football's nice. Nice.
But also, he's doing a bang-up job.
I'm not having a fat Spanish waiter. Sorry. No way.
You're telling me right now, honestly.
Benitez. No. He's a poor man's Mourinho, Benitez is.
Someone gives you a choice today and says, tomorrow, Man United but just between now and the end of the season, can be managed by Mourinho or Rafael Benitez. Who's going to get the better results?
But it's Benitez. It'd be humiliating. Can you imagine United taking Benitez? Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that would be bad. I'm just saying... if you frame the question as I've just framed it, what is the answer?
Who's chairman of the Liverpool Supporters Club? I'd take him over Benitez.
All right, who's next?
Crystal Palace.
Oh, I mean, listen.
Why?
I don't think that would be good, but it would be absolutely hilarious if Roy Hodgson was suddenly the Man United manager.
Yeah. So I don't think he could cope with the pressure. He'd melt.
I'd take him for comedy factor.
Neil Warnock at Cardiff was saying no. I think
absolutely not. Absolutely
I don't even know who the new Southampton guy. What's he called? I can't remember his name. Austrian.
Oh yeah, no. Rabbit Hutch, Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff. That's it. Yeah, no, he's the former Leipzig manager.
I only know that his name translates to Rabbit Hutch because it made Tom Victor write an article which was a five-a-side match between players named after animals and players named after cops from TV cop shows because of Rabbit and Hutch. So it's just really good.
He comes with good scores from the hipsters, not to sound too much like Neil Custis, but being dismissive of hipsters. Sean Dyche, Burnley, and then David Wagner, both very interesting. I don't, who knows whether they could do it at a big club, but why not?
Yeah.
And then Fulham have just appointed Ranieri, so we'd probably win the title.
We would definitely take Ranieri at this point for 6 months. That would be... Can you imagine the sheer joy and breath of fresh air it would be to have Ranieri in charge? Think about how happy he'd be to be Man United manager. It'd be great.
So we've spent 5 minutes talking about alternative managers as a way of not talking about yesterday's game.
I genuinely, I've been thinking about this quite a lot. So it's like, it's 20 past 11 on Monday as we record this. The game was 4:30 on Sunday. I don't know what to say about that game. What can you say about that game that's useful?
It was abysmal. Well, nothing's useful. I mean, clearly we drone on for an hour each week and a diminishing amount of people listen to this as we bang on a bit negatively about both the team and world politics.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're on the right side of history on both of these matters, but, I mean, we found our niche of anti-Mourinho snowflakes who tune in every week. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome. This is a safe space for you. Honestly, how anyone is still defending him. I tell you, it's not all Jose's fault has become the refrain. And it used to be that the refrain was like, it's not Jose's fault at all. So there's some cracks in the armour of the Jose truthers. But, I mean, the team he picked, the fact that you've got Mata, Pogba and Martial on the bench, it's just like, well, they're definitely 3 out of our best players without any shadow of a doubt. And probably 3 out of our 5 best players. Maybe that's certainly potentially one matter I think is the idea that he's kind of shot in some way. I think if you coached him right and played him in the right kind of team, he'd still be in our very top bunch of players. But
he's definitely not shot, and the better he plays for United, the fewer chances he seems to get from Mourinho. And
Pogba and Martial are probably our 2 best outfield players, I would say, probably. So, Martial, I think maybe there was some injury hangover, so it wasn't just a selection thing. But Pogba, you can say he doesn't deserve to be in the team on merit of his performances, but Nemanja Matic is in the team every week, and he's rubbish even when he's good, I mean, he's all right, but you know what I mean?
Oh, he was bad yesterday. Yes, so the abysmal day for United started with the team selection and the setup, which was clearly to play 5 with 2 in front protecting. I mean, I did joke earlier in the day that I was looking forward to United's dynamic back 7, but it basically was. In fact, sometimes it was even more than that because Lingard, who ostensibly was United's number 10, the link man, dropped into the right-hand side of United's midfield when United were defending, and Rashford did the same on the left side. So you had 3 at the back, 2 wing-backs, and then 2 covering those 2 wing-backs with Herrera and Matic sitting in front. And Lukaku somewhere in the very, 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 very far distance, so far away from the rest of the United team that you need a fucking telescope to find him. And when the ball did find him, it bounced off his shins. So it was dreadful from the start, dreadful from the setup, dreadful from the outlook. The best possible result United could have got out of this game was 0-0 draw. That's exactly what Mourinho wanted, and that would have fully justified his selection in his mind if that had happened. And Liverpool were completely and totally dominant for the entire game, including the 10 seconds after United scored. So, anyway, sorry. I'm starting to rant now. It is the name of the podcast.
And it used to be ironic, that name, because I always felt we were a very unranty podcast. But the nature of this game is that ranting is the only way to talk about it, really, because, the individual performances were feeble, but the system didn't allow it. And this is the thing that drives me absolutely nuts about setting up a team like that, is if you look at that starting 11 and you ask anyone with a vaguely informed sense of football, is this a starting 11 capable of spoiling for 90 minutes? Like, it's not, they just can't do it. So why are you setting them up? Not only are you setting them up to fail in terms of like the kind of mentality of a 0-0 draw being kind of a bit of a failure before you get started anyway, but even if you don't object to that, you're setting this team up to fail by asking them to do that because it's very clear that that's not their skills. None of these players are drilled in being underdogs and all this kind of stuff. They're all trained for top-level football, to have the ball, play with the ball, impose their will on other teams. That's the strength of this team everywhere you look in the team. And, okay, so you could say, right, well, we lost Smalling for Bailly. At the beginning of the game, and that kind of changed the game plan. That is an upgrade. It's not an upgrade as the kind of the one sane holding player in a back three, but it is an upgrade. And then at flipping half time when it desperately needed changing, and he switched to a back four to bring on Marouane Fellaini. Like, just get out of our club! Get out of our club! Go away! Like, I hate him now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I want him gone. I want him gone soon. He's an absolute cancer on the club. And look, to go back to a point that you made earlier, that is not to say that Ed Woodward and the Glazers and the priorities of this club are not wrong too. They're desperately wrong, but I'm happy to compartmentalise. Jose is doing an absolutely dreadful job. And do you know what? It's going to cost United an awful lot more than the £15 million payoff if the club misses out on the top four, which is almost certainly guaranteed right now. It's going to cost millions in sponsorship and the clauses in the contract with Adidas and others, millions more in rights from the Champions League next season, millions more from broadcast revenue and match day revenue lost as we're in the UEFA, whatever it's called these days. What's it called? Europa League. Even worse, we might be in Europa League 2, or does that start the season afterwards? Can you remember? Imagine us playing an Icelandic third place side every week. That's going to be awesome. There's going to be about 3 people at Old Trafford. So I just don't understand the thinking of the club. Mourinho is not going to suddenly turn this round unless he gets what he wants, which is like 5 29-year-olds. And that's really worked, hasn't it? Because Sanchez and Matic and every other bloody, washed up, really expensive, player that Mourinho wants has really worked for us, hasn't it? God, we barely talked about the game.
Well, what is there to say?
We were totally dominated in every single department. I mean, the XG tells one story, which is United were gifted a goal. That's 0.53 of United's 0.66 XG. Can you imagine we hadn't been gifted that goal?
Yeah, I can.
A non-league side going to Anfield would get 0.13 of XG. All you have to do is have a shot from the halfway line. Not quite, but
Let's be good nerds here. If we're going to be nerds, let's be good nerds. It's a joke. That performance was a joke. The thing that really hurt about it, because I've been very emotionally disconnected from United this season, just because it's so hard to care when you know what's coming every time. But the thing that really hurt about this was actually how good Liverpool were. In a very kind of casual, easy way. It wasn't a hard game for them. It was exactly what it's supposed to be on paper, just like the City game, where beforehand, kind of like doing prediction rounds, doing the preview rounds and all that on the show. I did some stuff with Full Time Devils, and you're thinking like, well, it could go not how you think it's going to go, because that's happened before. But these 2 games went exactly how they were supposed to go. We got wiped off the park. Both of those teams absolutely wiped the floor with us, as they were always going to if things went according to the script. And Liverpool didn't have to be amazing, but they're just casually competent. They're just a really good team.
Yeah.
And
Carragher was saying that you look down the 11, and there's not a big difference. There's not a gulf in the quality of players available. But there is a gulf in the quality and the outlook of manager available. I mean, Mourinho, with every single week, looks completely prehistoric. I mean, he looks from another time. He hasn't adapted his thinking at all. And he's been sulking all season as well. It's absolutely criminal. And you go from 1 to 11 and the performances, and the only, I was going to say benefit or positive. It's not even positive. The kind of one amusing part of the day was in the build-up for the week previous. Not only, it's sparked by the Scouse Mafia on the BBC talking about it, but also taken up in social media was a debate around who's better, Alisson or De Gea. It's a joke of a debate, isn't it? But in true De Gea's form has gone a little bit softer this season, but he's head and shoulders above. And Alisson gifted United a goal with an absolute rick, which was kind of amusing for all of 10 seconds. Apart from that, Darmian in the back three, awful. Victor Lindelof didn't have a good day. Eric Bailly did his best to not kneecap anyone this week, but was given the runaround. Ashley Young, he's looking every inch his 34 years, at left wing back and then left back. Diogo Dalot yanked off at half time. For Maran Fellaini, who was told to be a defensive midfielder in front of Herrera and Matic. Herrera running around headless chicken, couldn't get any control of the game. Nemanja Matic, he has been dreadful for 18 months. Dreadful. He's gone. He's gone, and for all the people having to go at Paul Pogba for his supposed attitude, Matic just strolls around the park for 90 minutes, being dreadful. Marcus Rashford ran, right? So no one can complain about his effort level. Lingard couldn't get any control of the game. He didn't know whether to play in front of Fabinho or behind him. Ended up most of the time chasing after Wijnaldum. Bad. And Romelu Lukaku, I like him. He's a nice guy and I really want him to do well, but he doesn't score. He didn't run into the channel, so he didn't even give United an outball. He can't keep it up front and the ball bounces off his shins whenever he tries to control it.
No, he just looks broken. I watched this thing on the BBC. They had this half-hour roundup of the World Cup, and I remember during the Belgium-Brazil game, I was all excitedly sending messages to loads of people going Romelu Lukaku's going to score 100 goals this season. Yeah. That was, because he was in such incredible form.
And he can get their back. But Mourinho asked him to come back early.
Yeah.
He's had the World Cup and he's been playing, constant football since he was 12. And he's only 14 now or whatever. It's for years and years and years. And clearly that was a disastrous decision by Mourinho.
Especially given that Lukaku played so much football last season as well. No rest, no rotation. Mourinho's just done such a terrible job. And honestly, at this point, the worst thing about the Glazers, in terms of the not morally or in terms of the structural long-termism, but the biggest mistake that you can kind of level at the Glazers and Woodward at this point is that they haven't sacked Mourinho. It's not all Mourinho's fault. There's the structural problems and it's the board and blah, 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 blah. The worst thing about the board is that they haven't sacked Mourinho. That's where we're at. And, it's horrible. By the way, we stole Nick Man United Youth's line for the name of the show last week, Positive Goal Difference FC.
That's gone.
Yeah, neutral goal difference.
Neutral goal. It could have been, and perhaps should have been a lot worse. Liverpool have 34 shots. That's the most shots United have conceded for 14 years. And this is absolute damning indictment of Mourinho's game plan. That is because United was set out to be passive. They just sat there and took it. I talked about United getting bummed, didn't I, last week? This was a good bumming. Mourinho's sole plan for the bumming that was coming was to go, please use some lube. And Liverpool didn't do it, And they probably could or should have scored 5 or 6, and it had been completely humiliating. Not that this wasn't. 34 shots on goal.
And when Liverpool scored, it was a very nice goal, their first goal. And it was just we had 5 minutes at the beginning where we were kind of going toe to toe with them. Which is, as well as 1-0 down FC, we're also effort for the first 10 minutes FC. We're in these big games, and I say this every time it happens, but it's the 2011 Champions League final. We're in it for the first 10 minutes, This was like that again. And I'm so bored of saying the same thing over and over again and thinking about Mourinho and trying to be, moderate and trying to not be knee-jerk about these things and trying to take in, other people's opinions and recognise the areas in which I might be wrong. But he's a total disgrace. He should be. I tell you what, Mourinho should be absolutely ashamed of the job he's done at United, because every step of the way he's deflected and obfuscated and failed and alienated and failed, and yet we won the Europa League. But the rest of the time, and so much of that was about Zlatan, right? So much of what success we did have in that first season was about Zlatan. And I think probably the people that say that's about Zlatan off the pitch as well, and him keeping the dressing room together to some extent, I think that's probably a pretty sound argument at this point. It's pathetic.
Oh,
it's pathetic.
You're right. He's done an absolutely horrible job, and now he's running distraction because he's created an argument with Paul Pogba and won some fans over in order to distract from the awful job he's doing. Someone else comes in tomorrow. Pogba's in the team and he's performing well, right? Because he's not under a cloud and you got a world-class player back. There were even reports over the weekend that United were prepared to sell whether Mourinho stays or not. It's absolutely nuts. He's not only is he running interference with the United fan base, but with his executives at the club too. It's absolutely horrible. He started out saying there's no collusion, it's all a hoax. And now he's gone to say, yeah, there's a little bit of collusion, but that's not really a crime, is it? Then all the crimes have been spotted and everyone around him is a criminal too. And he's like, yeah, so what? It's those people over there. Sorry from the levered analogy there. We do it every week. I hate the man. Hate him. But let's talk about Mourinho.
The thing is, I do miss charming Jose, and also
but
on a kind
we haven't had charming Jose for 5 years. When has that ever? He came to United angry. I mean, remember when Mourinho was being appointed, and I said, "Oh, maybe he'll be the humble one." Well, clearly I was totally wrong. He was the angry one. He was embittered. He's been holed up in the Lowry for 2 years away from his family, and he hates himself.
And this is the thing. Like on just a human level, genuinely, I'm a bit worried about him. Like I don't think he's okay because the fire's gone out of his eyes. The only fire he has now is the rage. Like he doesn't. I think like he should leave and take some time off and find himself. Like genuinely think he should go and spend some time in an ashram. Like that's what Jose Mourinho needs. He needs some proper spiritual downtime, But I suspect that probably won't be what happens. Anyway, so yeah, I don't wish him personal harm. I wish him enlightenment, Just far away, ideally thousands of miles away from United.
True, but a good kicking wouldn't harm either.
No, it's like that's the last thing he needs. He's already he's kicking himself somewhere. Somewhere narcissists under the surface are doing a right old number on themselves on some level.
No, I think you're right. He's frightened and he's scared and he's a bit of a coward as well because he's been taking it out on his players.
We saw that, by the way, when if you kind of frame by frame Zeebrugge film style, Zeebrugge film style, if you frame by frame,
was a boat that sank.
Yes, that's right. If you frame by frame when Arsene Wenger started on him, when Arsene Wenger shoved him, just lost it, had enough. Like Arsene Wenger's this like frail old man by this point, but he could have had Mourinho if the two of them had fought at that point. Like Mourinho just shrank into himself the moment somebody stood up to him. Anyway, it's
pathetic. Our club is run to make money, And it does that pretty successfully, although if you looked at United share price bouncing around this year, the investors perhaps don't think that's the truth either. But, Woodward is there to ensure that United get sponsorship. And the only thing he's worried about with this situation with Mourinho is whether United make the top four or not, and the impact on the bottom line.
But I mean, I don't know how there's any conversation at this point about whether United make the top four or not.
Nine points off it at the moment, after 17 games.
9 points off it, but just a world away from it. 9 points is not that much, but it definitely looks much more likely that it will be 18 points by the end of the season. Once you've kind of doubled the length of time that has passed.
I lied. It's 11 points off Chelsea in fourth.
Right, there you go. I was going to say 9 points did sound... I was quite surprised it was that small.
And 13 away from Spurs. This is a Spurs side that finished behind us last season and didn't spend a penny in the summer. But of course, it's all about, Mourinho didn't get his transfers.
One centre-back as well. The Spurs thing, they've also played a disproportionate number of their games away from home. So, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting because it's the manner of it. It is not that United are bad. That is the problem. It is the manner of that so much of what's gone wrong this season was utterly avoidable. If you'd gone on into this season with a positive team-building approach to the squad they had, there is no chance it would be as bad as it is. If you weren't picking Scott McTominay to make a point. By the way, when Eric Bailly came into the starting 11 to replace Chris Smalling because Chris Smalling was injured, that meant that Matteo Darmian had been picked to play in a back three ahead of Eric Bailly.
Yeah.
That's
£30 million defender.
That's the level of insanity we're at this point. And talking of the level of insanity at the club, Jones Smalling 2022, the dream ticket, Smalling the presidential candidate and Jones the vice presidential candidate.
That's right. This is referring to the social media post when Smalling signed his new 4-year contract. It really did look like a presidential campaign poster. What would the slogan be?
Smalling Jones 2022. Don't even think about it.
The wall.
It'd be like no hope.
Nope.
Just nope. Honestly, that is a shambles giving Chris Smalling a 4-year contract at this point. It's a shambles that you're thinking, okay, well, this guy is going to... And I think his performances have been above average this season. And we've said this, there's nothing new to say about Chris Smalling at this point. But the idea that you're like, he's our guy. We're gonna go with him until 2022. It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
Yeah, all right. That was a good half an hour. Should we move on and talk about something else?
Yeah,
well, we got questions from the audience, and this is worrying me.
Can we start doing what Juan Mata does now? Like Juan Mata twice in the last 3 weeks has been like,
hugs.
Nah, this is not the time for posts. No hugs. This is not the time for posts. And I feel like we should start doing this is not the time for posts.
No, it's always the time for posts.
Yeah, all right.
Or pods.
Damn it. Yeah.
All right, we'll take some questions, and then we've got a Champions League draw to discuss and a couple of games coming up.
Go on then. I like the listeners. Listeners' questions are good. Let's do them.
All right, first question from Keith Gibraltar. When Sir Alex Ferguson came on TV on Sky Sports yesterday, came up with Manchester United director, made me think, what exactly is his role and does he have any input into the football side of things? Surely there's something he could do to improve things. Announce Fergie.
So, Ed, could you explain to the people what his role is in the board?
I don't think he has one. I think it's purely ambassadorial. I think it's keeping the Fergie brand name on so United can commercialise on that, and I'm sure they pay him a nice stipend too.
Yeah, he is technically a non-executive director, which means that he is a board member without voting rights and things like that.
Yes, well, most stockholders have no rights either because of our dual class structure. All of the executives are Glazer children plus Woodward.
Yeah. And what about Richard Arnold?
And Richard Arnold, managing director. But we all know who makes the... it's the spawn of Glazer, isn't it? Those are the people that actually make the decisions, plus their banker. If Jose gets the sack, says Lucas_MUTD, do you think we should give the manager's job to Carrick, to the bald legend, and by that I mean Nicky Butt? Yeah, because Pep's moving across town. Yeah, announce Carrick. Do it. Why not? I mean, at this stage, there is zero downside. I mean, absolutely zero downside.
Yeah, I'd be delighted if they announced Carrick, especially if they said it's a caretaker role. We're going to see how it goes till the end of the season and potentially look, because
it can't get worse.
Yeah,
nothing.
I mean, I do think it is a very long time to, in terms of the long term future, it's a very long time to give a caretaker a role for. At this point, if you're going to say, okay, we're going to give the job to someone till the end of this season, that is actually a really tricky appointment, isn't it?
Of course, it's a tricky appointment, but it's not like United are moving forward, and some of the players would see that as a free pass, I suppose. But Carrick, I'm sure, has a lot of respect in the dressing room. I'm sure of it, and no doubt about that. And in the meantime, United can work hard on getting Poch to the club.
Yeah, and I think that's a bit harsh on Carrick, isn't it? To kind of say, okay, you've got 6 months in the job, like that's a difficult position to be put in, I think.
I tell you what, is a difficult position to be put in, expecting Mourinho to turn this around. Anyway, Benny Hudson.
But no, I don't. I'm not talking about that. I would take a cat over Jose Mourinho. That's the official party line. I would genuinely not be that annoyed if Neil Warnock did get the job until the end of the season. But I just think for Carrick's career, that would be a very weird thing.
Benny Hudson, friend of the show, says, has Mourinho been able to stay out of the minibar and off the porno for the last 2 years, or is most of his severance going to the Lowry when he checks out? One for you. I think that Jorge Mendes, isn't he? Portuguese, isn't he? Is a top agent and will have had a porno clause inserted into Jose's contract, and United will be footing the bill.
The bill for the Lowry that he must have amassed, because that is not a cheap hotel, and presumably he's got a suite. I hope he's got a suite.
Suites. Yeah,
he's not in like the Travel Tavern in Norwich, off the high street, off the A, whatever it is. So it's a staggering thought what that bill's going to be at the end of it.
I'm sure Jose watches a lot of porn. I mean, he's got to have some release. He's an angry man. In fact, I reckon it's specialist stuff as well. No, stop. We did specialist pornography last week. We're not doing it 2 weeks in a row. Did we? Yeah. Tariq Amir, LaFalse number 12 on Twitter, friend of the show, says, what would you rather have, a team full of 11 Matiches or a team full of 11 Fellaini's? Oh, Fellaini's. Definitely. Not even close. Fellaini for sure. He'd probably do a decent turning goal as well, Fellaini. I'd have Fellaini over Matic in the team every day of the week, by the way, at the moment. Not even close. Weird position he played yesterday. He came on in front of the holding two, and you'd think that United would switch to playing it long then. But we didn't. What? It just bypassed midfield at that point. It was so dominated in there. Anyway, strange. WYKIWANI 2019. Not quite sure how to say that, sorry. Says, now that Daley Blind has scored a hat-trick, should we buy him back for 89 minutes? Ajax won 8-0 in that game. 8-0. God, do you remember the days when we used to win 8-0? It wasn't very often. No, I don't, actually. Who have we beaten 8-0? No, I don't remember. We did beat Roma 7-1 once. We beat Roma 7-1. We beat Arsenal 8-2, obviously. We beat Ipswich 9-0. 9-1, wasn't it? 9-1? Was it? Did we concede that day? I think so. Who knows? I was at the game, that one. God, those are the days. I mean, come on, let's not do that. Those were the days, but then also there was loads of days in between then and now as well that were still the days. Because a lot of people listening to this will have no memory of that game whatsoever. No. We're talking about those are the days. Richard Crabb on Twitter says, when are we appointing Roy Evans to make us the full 90s Liverpool tribute act? Yep, beautiful. Oh, God, we've become Liverpool. They haven't become us yet. They're not winning anything yet.
No. But we are definitely them.
Gurpreet Singh Rana says, Jose or Ed out. You can only have one.
Jose, definitely.
Hashtag friend of the show.
Yes, friend of the show. No, absolutely.
I'm not sure I'm having this claiming it, but yes, friend of the show.
No, he's earned it. It is definitely, without any shadow of a doubt, I would have Jose out over Red out at this point.
Interesting question here. Oh, go on.
Just because the thing that's going to make the most... The person out of those two who's doing a worse version of their particular job at the moment is Mourinho. And anyway, if you replace Woodward, you'd have to kind of... If you told me like the whole board out and a kind of fan ownership of the club, then I would definitely say that.
Yeah.
But just replacing Woodward is going to make less difference. He is less influential on what's happening at Man United than Jose.
No,
Mourinho
I think that's right. I think the immediate problem to fix, even if it is a big sticking plaster over a gaping wound, is Mourinho. The easiest thing to fix with Woodward is to insert someone between him and the manager, director of football, to give the club some direction, which of course was something that the club floated, and then Woodward realised he'd be replacing himself there because he's got a massive ego too.
Yep.
Daniel Fieldhouse says, at what point are Carrick and McKenna going to cop flack like Giggs used to under LVG? Not that I'm blaming either for anything, but I remember Giggs getting crap in the past. Yeah, interesting, that one. I mean, the Jose truthers haven't started trying to blame his support team yet.
I have heard a few, well, Reece Farrier's gone, so maybe that's having an impact. Heard a bit of that, but yeah. It's interesting. I think the Giggsy thing is about the relationship between Ryan Giggs and Manchester United fans, which is a historically complex relationship. Because obviously...
It is, because he was there a long time, and what a wonderful player he was, but also frustrating at times, and many people felt he had outstayed his welcome in the United team, and it's become more complex again since he left the club. And has had a few things to say, although not nearly as many things as Paul Scholes.
No, but Paul Scholes has a much less complicated relationship with United fans, interesting. I think partly it's about Ryan Giggs being who he is as well, you know, given his off-field activities. Is that the right word? He doesn't seem to be a good person, and I think that made him kind of an easy target as well.
Andrew Hardman, to continue a theme in these questions, says, how many more defeats are needed before Jose is asked to leave, ideally before the new year? Not going to happen, I don't think. I think it would take something really, really big. I think it's partly due to the incompetence and lack of vision of the higher-ups, but I don't see Woodward having the balls to chop Jose now. You know, it's too risky for him in his mind.
Yeah. I don't know what about the results this season so far are keeping him in a job. Like, he hasn't done anywhere near enough to be in a job right now. What's the positives? We qualified from the Champions League group, but it was an easy group, and we qualified as unimpressively as it's possible to qualify. And I mean, okay, yeah, that Juventus win is a good result, but it wasn't a good performance at all. And like I said at the time, we were very lucky that Juventus were complacent in that game. And that Dybala hit the bar. So I don't see anything in the and then certainly there's nothing in the league results. I mean, what are we saying, like that comeback against Newcastle, who are 14th in the league on 16 points, was a great achievement. You know, we have a goal difference of 0 after 17 games of the season. There's not words for how terrible that is. I mean, there are, but I don't choose to say them.
I do frequently. I did notice on last week's pod I swore rather a lot.
That's not unusual, you know.
Well, it's not unusual, but I think as the team gets worse, I dissemble more. All right, there's a few on a theme here. Lee at @moo_CW says, whisper it quietly, this is worse than Moyes.
It is.
Pantalon says, I asked it a few months ago, is this worse than the Moyes era? It's getting to that point, isn't it? I mean, we're 6th, and Moyes finished 7th.
Yeah, that is the one difference.
Moyes also didn't have £300 million spent on his team because the players we have at our disposal are pretty good.
Yeah, and they just won the league, and the Moyes thing was pathetic, and maybe we're forgetting just how bad that was because time has passed and time plays all sorts of tricks on you, doesn't it? At that point, if we still had custom tables, it would be interesting to see where we were at this point in the season after 17 games under David Moyes in terms of goals scored and conceded, at least.
Yeah, I'm going to guess it wasn't good. Someone tell us where you can get that. Stato has gone, which was a real shame. So here's something more. I don't know. I was going to say disappointing, not disappointing. Depressing. Mika Latonen. Just how crushingly depressing was it to compare Liverpool's pacey, dangerous and determined counter-attacks with United's slow and meandering attempts? Did we even make slow and meandering attempts? Not sure we attempted much. Wasn't being a good counter-attacking team the whole point of Mourinho ball?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's a really salient point. And like I said earlier, that was the worst thing about watching that game, was like watching Liverpool and being like, do you know what? These are good. There's just no you can give it all the Unitedness you want, but if you're looking at that team and not thinking they're pretty decent, then, you know. All right, so after 17 games in the 13-14 season, United had 28 points and +8 goal difference, as compared to this season when we have 26 points and 0 goal difference. So, in fact, it was indeed better under David Moyes.
Wow.
A lot better as well. That's like not just a bit better, but substantially better under David Moyes.
I feel depressed.
Yeah.
I may need a moment alone.
I mean, listen, we won game. We'd won one game that we drew this season. So in terms of results, not really, but that goal difference thing is pretty stark.
Jared Smearden says, when I first started listening to you guys in the Fergie era, your pod was a nice bonus compliment to entertaining football. Now you're the only entertainment I get. Never stop. Thanks God, if we're entertainment. I'm depressing myself at this point.
A few people have said, like, please carry on. The podcast is, because I keep talking about how I hate doing this now. But it is hard. It is hard to do it, but it's because people like it that we still do. So, yeah. And I got to stop apologising for it, because I'm just going to assume that everyone that doesn't like it has stopped listening.
Yeah, true. Good job we're not in this for the money, hey? Henrik Asbjorsen says, I hope Sir Bobby turned to Woodward at some point during the game and said, how's our share price doing, you fucking banking wanker?
There was one point where it showed like Woodward doing the mouth cover, whispering at Bobby Charlton. Who's thinking, God, shut up. Just shut up. Unless what you're saying behind that glove is I'm definitely 100% sacking him after this, then just shut up.
All right, shall we leave it there? There are others, but I'm getting depressed at this stage. We've got a Champions League draw to discuss held this morning, and we've got Paris Saint-Germain. I'm just thinking, Phil Jones and Chris Smalling, or Nemanja Matic and Scott McTominay versus Neymar.
Wait, has that happened?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Just now, 11 o'clock.
I didn't know we've got PSG. Mbappe versus Lindelof. Mbappe versus Young as he pulls out to the flanks.
It's going to be fun, isn't it?
Oh my God. I'm kind of glad in a way, because it'll end it quickly. That, honestly, listen, who knows? But as I was just saying about the City and Liverpool games, if this goes as it's meant to go, we are going to be humiliated in those two games. I
mean, the flip side of that discussion about City and Liverpool, why is the last time that Mourinho pulled out a custom, bespoke tactical solution for a game and we won?
But I'm not even talking about custom. When I say like it's not going how it's supposed to go,
No, I
I'm
know what you
about,
mean. It's like the level in quality difference means that we are going to lose big time. But given that level in quality difference, and given how Mourinho approaches these, could he find some solution? Right, and
he's only done it once the whole time he's been at United.
Right, but this is what he was known for.
Yeah,
we had the question about counter-attacking football, and we talk about parking the bus, and we talk about sort of custom tactical solutions. We don't even see that. What we see in these big games is pathetic ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Pathetic ball. That's the name of the show right there.
God, it's bad. Yeah, and we're going to get bummed. And I keep saying that as well. I mean, we're going to enjoy some nice football. It's just not going to come from United.
The thing that I was saying, like, is we've pulled off results we weren't supposed to pull off under Mourinho. Like Juventus, that's a great example. If that game had gone on paper like it was supposed to go, we wouldn't have won that game. We would have got battered. And I'm not even talking about like on paper unless Mourinho did something clever. I'm just talking about unless we get lucky, which is what happened against Juventus and is going to have to happen twice. Big time against PSG. And we're not going to. It's not going to happen.
And it's over two legs.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, that should be like 7 or 8-2 on aggregate. That should.
We shouldn't let Fergie come to those games. It's probably not good for his health.
No, I think he likes it. I think he's like, see,
it
was all
his
me.
Legend grows bigger with every game. Yeah. Well,
exactly.
It's an interesting one with, so the dwindling band of hardcore Jose truthers who are like, this is all the players' fault. So, like, none of all the success that Fergie had was anything to do with him. It was all the players all through those years, was it?
Yeah, exactly. It's the Soccernomics thing, isn't it? The 10% swing. It's like, yeah, it's not that big a percentage swing unless you're talking about the top level elite sport, in which case it's the difference between monumental success and epic failure,
Naz Red Devil says, anyone for this season only? Wenger, Martinez, Butt, Carrick, Santa. I
would have all of them except Nicky Butt, because he's done like a terrible job every time he's managed a youth team. But I would definitely have Santa nailed on. Just get elves as assistant managers. That'd be really good and entertaining to watch. Already a red, isn't he, Santa? And
he'd go down with Woodward as well, because basically he's a marketing construct of the Coca-Cola company.
No, this is not true. This is a myth. There's a very interesting article in The Guardian on Christmas myth busting. I have also believed this for years, and that he never really wore red before the Coca-Cola, but that's complete nonsense. It was 40 years after Santa was generally portrayed in popular culture as being like who he is now, was when the Coca-Cola company started using him in adverts.
They should pay a licensing fee.
There you go, the public service announcement on this podcast. We're no longer perpetuating the myth. I was very surprised when I read that.
So, predictions for this Paris Saint-Germain doubleheader?
We're going to get absolutely owned. Like, absolutely deleteriously destroyed.
And it will be a great advert for the introduction of sovereign wealth.
As if one were needed, because it turns out that's very effective.
Yeah,
although,
if
they're
only
not winning
the
the league, are they?
took over United in between, because, they have a bit of a geopolitical problem going on in that part of the world at the moment. Might spark a war.
Great.
Awesome stuff.
That is how you make football even more depressing than Mourinho. Well done.
So, we got games coming up.
Oh, God. What's the point? We're going to beat Huddersfield and Cardiff. That is what's going to happen. And then everyone's going to be like, when I say everyone, I mean the people with 6 brain cells to rub between them who somehow still think that Mourinho has a shot in hell of doing anything at United, are going to talk nonsense like they did after the Fulham game. And then the first time we played anyone half decent, we're going to get completely battered. But before that, let's play our good fun trivia game. Of how many players can you name combined that play for Cardiff or Huddersfield?
Not many.
I can tell you my answer. It's 2.
Go on then. Who are your 2?
Aaron Moy.
Aaron Moy, who I keep wanting to call
Huddersfield.
Adrian.
Yeah. And Philip Billings, who is that kind of guy that's garnered some press attention and stuff, that plays for Huddersfield because he's up and coming, good English player. Cardiff, that you notice they both play for Huddersfield. I'm embarrassed to say, even though we're in December now and they've been in the Premier League for like 4 months, I can't name a single player off the top of my head that plays for Cardiff City.
Well, we know the managers at least.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's impressive.
So what have you got to say about Warnock then?
Oh, he's a lovely lad, isn't he?
Didn't Harry Arter go to Cardiff?
Did he? Oh, there you go. You've named a Cardiff. Well done, Ed. You've named a Cardiff player. Sol Bamba plays for Cardiff. Well, I never. Some guy called Callum Patterson, apparently. All right, Sol Bamba I've heard of. This is bad, right? Because now I've got the players in front of me. And I'm now down to 10th in the Who Scored rankings of the squad. Harry Arter, I've heard of him. Junior Hoylett,
wow.
I've heard of him.
He's been absolutely useless for all of his career.
They've got a player called Jazz Richards.
Nice.
I'm kind of sad that I've never heard of before. But yeah,
Jazz.
So there you go. Not only could I not name any, I've literally never heard of almost all of them. So that's pathetic. On my part, I mean, not theirs, because it's, they're presumably all perfectly serviceable footballers. And they're not in the relegation zone either, which I think everyone would 100% have assumed that they would be by this point.
Yeah. And sadly, it's going to be one of those games where United actually managed to win, I think. Sadly, I say, because right now my entire focus is on giving Mourinho a good kicking and getting him out of the club.
Hey, last week you said you always want United to win.
I do always want United to win. I want United to win this healthily, playing absolute samba football and entertaining us all before Christmas. That's what I'd like. And I'd also like Santa to come down and fill my house with joyous presents and Christmas good cheer.
The gap between us and Cardiff is 1 point more than the gap between us and 4th place, because they've got 12 points fewer than us. Good, innit? Good at the moment. No, Neil Warnock, right, is one of the worst people in football and shouldn't have a job in football. It's a disgrace. Like, when he said that thing earlier this season about the red card, well, he hasn't tried to kill anyone, has he? It's like, that's not the standard, Leo. It's not. Murder is not the sole attempted murder is not the only thing in the rule book about how you get a red card in football.
I mean, to be fair, that would be dangerous play, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
And
as would
Marcos Rocco hasn't reached that standard yet, but I'm not ruling it out.
If you'd asked me, like at the beginning of the season, after 17 games, which of these two teams is going to be out of the relegation zone, and I had to pick one, I would definitely have said Huddersfield. But they are, in fact, 4 points behind Cardiff. I think one of the big differences between these two games is, of course, the fact that we're playing Cardiff on the road and we're playing Huddersfield at Old Trafford. Although at the moment, I can't work out which one of those is better.
No, we're equally bad on both. Yeah. I mean, look, there have been a couple of games when United pulled out surprise victories, because we were pretty negative beforehand at Bournemouth and at Crystal Palace. At Bournemouth, it was a decent performance as well, wasn't it? So
we didn't. Did we beat Bournemouth?
We beat Bournemouth 2-1 away.
Okay, but we didn't beat Crystal Palace. We drew 0-0 with Crystal Palace at Old Trafford.
Yeah. No, I was thinking another game. But Bournemouth was a decent performance and result. Okay. We can beat these.
No, Bournemouth was the game where we were absolutely terrible for the first half and then really good in the second half, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that game.
There you go. So after these two games, if it all goes a bit wrong, we could be 11th.
Well, now, I really do think that they would sack Mourinho if we lose these two games. I really do. I don't think he would survive losing that game against Liverpool. Valencia, Liverpool, And then if we somehow conspired to lose against Cardiff and Huddersfield, but I just don't think we will. So it's kind of a bit silly to talk about it, really. But I'm sure they'd sack him for that.
Predictions for these games? Do we have anything to say about Huddersfield? I mean, David Wagner was the mini Klopp who was doing an awesome job, and they've gone a little bit backwards.
But, the standards that these people get held to are kind of a bit difficult, aren't they? Because what's Huddersfield's relative operating budget to the rest of the division?
Tiny. It's a fraction of United's budget.
The fact that he kept them up last season it's almost like there's a kind of reputational punishment that managers get if they keep them up, if they keep a promoted side up in the first season and can't do it again in the second. Whereas actually it's just about the fact that it's getting harder and harder and harder, and they're not really having the resources to compete.
No, and they're in poor form at the moment. They lost to Newcastle at the weekend. Huddersfield, that is.
That is really bad.
Lost to Arsenal, lost to Bournemouth, lost to Brighton.
Shout out to Southampton for beating Arsenal, by the way.
Yeah. This was one for the Mourinho truthers who were like, United draw with Southampton. Mourinho's a terrible manager. Arsenal lose to Southampton. Emery's a genius. They had been on a 22-match unbeaten run.
Which I don't know if you know or not, but we're not. Although last year we did go on an absolutely insane unbeaten run.
At Old Trafford, Huddersfield in absolutely dire form, and Adrian Moy, the only player that... Aaron Moy, I can't even get his name right, the only player that we know from Huddersfield is injured anyway, so won't be playing. So clearly we're going to win this one, I think. Yeah, I think
we're going to win both these games. I'm going to predict a 2-1 win at Cardiff because we'll make it difficult for ourselves, and then I think we might even win like 3-0 against Huddersfield. Because one of the things about playing Huddersfield at home is it does mean he'll actually play some of the good players, and that's what. It's not just that the other team are bad, so we're more likely to win, but the other team being bad sort of emboldens Mourinho to be slightly less of a feckless, cowardly thug.
Yeah. Okay, so Cardiff away, Huddersfield at home. We're recording the next pod on the 27th of December. Then United are home to Bournemouth. And then United are away to Newcastle on the 2nd of January before the cup game. I mean, these are all winnable games.
Yeah, absolutely. But who cares? Like, what difference does any of it make? And I don't mean in the big cosmic sense. What difference does any of this make anyway? Which is, of course, a question we've repeatedly parked over the years of talking about it for an hour every week. I mean, if we win these games, nothing changes. Maybe we get a bit closer to the top four. But first of all, we probably won't win all of these games because we have not been winning all our winnable games this season, and that there's nothing in the way we've addressed this that seems like that's going to change. So we probably won't win all these games, and even if we do, we're just going to start losing again as soon as we play anyone half decent. So,
Wow, that's depressing. I've got nothing more to say.
All right, well, we'll be back. Yay! We'll be back on the 27th. No, but in the meantime, between now and then, it is the festival of Christmas is being celebrated by many people around the world, and I really like Christmas, and I hope everyone has a really lovely Christmas where you don't think about United at all, and you do other nice things which are better than United, which is most nice things at this point.
And do you know what? And United, and we've talked about United's failings as a club. Not a single Christmas-related sponsor. Like Woodward, up your game, pal.
Oh, talking of things that we haven't talked about yet, United Women, who I said had played their last game of 2018. It was their last league game of 2018. They played in the Conti Cup and smashed that traitor Willie Kirk's pathetic Everton scrubs aside. Oh, leave us for Everton. Oh, not content with being the assistant manager, eh, Willie? Want to go and be the manager of Everton, do you? Take this, pal.
There's one for your ego, Willie.
Casey Stoney's Red and White Army.
Yeah, so what does that mean into effectively the quarterfinals, isn't it? The semi-finals of the northern section of this cup.
Which is like, they're playing against teams in the division above them, and that Everton are in the division above them.
Could get City.
Yeah, That would probably not go that well, to be fair. I think they're slightly... obviously United women are doing brilliantly, but I think they're probably at a slightly different level as a collective than City at the moment.
But Everton near the bottom of the Women's Super League. So this gives... they are definitely our bottom, yeah. So this gives United a good check on quality. Definitely better than the worst team in the Super League.
Yeah, absolutely. Although Willie Kirk, to be fair, seems like a lovely chap, and Everton did get their first win under him in the subsequent game. So well done to him. All
right, well that's it until the 27th. Have a great Christmas, everybody, or non-denominational winter festival of your choosing.
Absolutely, and happy birthday, Ed! For Saturday, you're going to celebrate by watching Cardiff School United.
I'm actually going to be on a plane, which obviously I spent half my life on a plane, so I'll be taking a plane to Los Angeles and then up to Seattle. I'm going to spend a little bit of time in Seattle over Christmas and then back down to Los Angeles for a few days at Disneyland. That won't be stressful at all.
It's the happiest place on earth, Ed.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be the happiest place on earth until 5-year-old and nearly 2-year-old get a bit tired. And it's going to be the most miserable place on earth, except for the dressing room after another United defeat.
Yeah, bro. All right. Love you, everyone. Take care of yourselves. And those of you who find this time of year a tricky and difficult time of year, remember, it'll be over soon and there's loads of help and support available. So you can find that. Everyone's talking about where you can find that kind of thing.
That's right. You can get Paul, Jose, if you're listening, Paul at unitedrant.co.uk. We're here to help.
Competitive rates available, Jose. I do Skype sessions as well, so I would happily offer Jose Mourinho a course of psychotherapy. I think that would help him.
It's going to be actually, this is I'm taking a piss, obviously, but because this is a serious issue and not to be made fun of. But you're going to be in a tricky dilemma if he calls you up, because the advice you should give is resign now.
I don't think that'd be a tricky dilemma at all. I think that would be the best for all concerned, including him. It's not doing him any favours being there, is it? If I was,
you might be rationalising, but yeah, no, I like your course of thinking.
I'm not. I said earlier on the show, I genuinely think he should go and spend some time getting away from it all. I think that'd help him a lot. But anyway, that's not, psychotherapy isn't just giving people advice, Ed. They just ring me up and I go, what you should do is ...
All right, until the 27th. See you guys.
See you then.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.